Well, that ties nicely into Live and Let Die with
Right.
Kool G Rap and DJ Polo album. So you go to New York, and that's with America's Most Wanted. So
Right.
is that how you got to meet Kool G Rap? Break it down. How did you get to meet him? And
How I met Kool G Rap was when I'll put this right here. I was working with Michael Concepcion
right.
at the time. And I was living with him, he lived out there in Carson. I was a kid, like 18, 19 years old. And Mike Concepcion took me in, let me live with him. And he would help me buy equipment, and he was, because he knew a lot of people too. He knew the Michael Jacksons and
right.
the Teddy Rileys. He knew all them, so he was going to introduce me to them people. So he introduced me to this one lady named Karen Jones. Karen Jones is like the VP of Warner Brothers, so he would take me up there, kind of flash me around like I'm the new kid in town. Y'all need to check for this guy. So then I ended up meeting Benny Medina, and then me and Benny Medina got cool. He started letting me reference music, like he'll play music for me. So I think I left, and then they had no clue. And so the America's Most Wanted comes out. So now they looking at me like, oh shit. Like,
that's the guy.
That dude that was here all the time talking. Right. Then they said, then Karen say, have you heard a guy named Kool G Rap? And I'm like, hey, yeah, I know I heard of Kool G Rap. So they said I was doing remixes for Warner Brothers. Like, so I was working with a dude named Trelude, that's George Clinton's son. And I did a couple other little musical adjustments for them. And I was getting bread. That was like the first time I ever got like $6,000 to do something. Like, I was amazed.
Back then, that's cake.
Oh man, it was to see a check and be like, here, and then they kept working with me. So it wasn't like, it went on to do other things like with A&M and what's Quincy Jones' label and stuff. Right, it went on to do more things. So she said, why don't you remix, help G-Rap remix about 4 songs. So I was like, oh yeah. He's like, well, we ain't got no budget, the what. So they floated me some cash. It was some cool cash. I didn't know it was going to be that long. I didn't know it was going to turn into what it turned into. You know what I'm saying? Because it was almost like the America's Most Wanted when the Bomb Squad was supposed to do a couple of songs at first. And then, when they figured it, they wanted to take on the whole record. So when I got the records, they sent them to me on ADAT, and I had to go get them, because he had a different kind of ADAT. So I had to get them transferred over to the ADATs I had. And the first song was On the Run. So it was On the Run, The Great Train Robbery, I think it was a few of them that he already had when they sent me all these boxes of shit. And so I went into the studio and immediately started assembling all the songs and putting them back together. So I shot it back to him, and then they flew him out here. So they flew him and Polo. They was convinced when I dissected them tapes that he had. Man, I had a pit crew in the studio that was crazy. We will figure it out. Your heart stopped beating. We can make you come back alive. I bet you somebody got the answer in that goddamn room. So we assembled the stuff back, and I said, well, he just need to put a better vocal on it, because it came from, he was working on it at his house. I added music to it. And then, so he came down. When he came down, I think we did The Great Train Robbery. I don't know if I said that one.
Yep.
I'll start thinking of all the ones that he had when he came down. But when he came down, and I was just telling this cold story. We was they had him living good. Warner Brothers got a deep pocket, Jack, and for me giving them such a good price, it kind of like made us be able to have fun with the budget. Like, so it was like I was in charge of the budget too. Like, because I had to make the studio time. So, and then I had to deal with my hotel arrangement because they had us in the hotel right there on La Cienega and Holiday, like on Sunset, like next Sunset. We had a good time. We had a good time.
So with Train Robbery, since that's one of the early ones that you worked on the album, that one always stood out to me because it made me realize one of your many strengths was, and is being able to make these mini movies, very cinematic. And his raps and the story that he tells on there is very vivid and very graphic, like something Cube would have done.
Right.
But obviously in his own way. But what did you notice about Kool G Rap's vivid storytelling that was maybe different or similar to Cube's?
Well, Cube writes a certain kind of way. Cube pays more attention to the effect of the rhyme. Like when Cube write a story, he wants it to affect you, you know. And Kool G Rap wants to impress you. So Kool G Rap, when he the similarities is they both love stories, but Kool G Rap is gonna go at it in a format that's you know not something you would think. He will say words. So he want to impress you like you know what I'm saying?
Like when he left the girl with the mouth flooded.
Right. So he's forever so forth with saying da 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 da, and Cube want to be like, you know, we gonna revolt, we gonna do this tonight. That's what we gonna do, and it affects you. Like, man, that Cube music had me turned up. You know, with the Kool G Rap, you're like, oh man, you heard what he said, like in that amount of time, like you know. So the similarities are there, you know, as well as with Exhibit.
Absolutely.
And dealing with that caliber of MC. So Cube was labeled, you know, a MC. Like when he did I think Cube went to the top of that idea with the grand finale. I think, and that was the last song he did with the Ruthless situation. Right. But the way he just rapped, he put himself in the category of being a lyricist right there.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think that was one of the things that amazed me about Cube, especially when you look at Ruthless and then as a solo artist up through, just since only things we've talked about is up through Death Certificate, is that the overwhelming majority of his songs, other than really his verse on Grand Finale, overwhelming majority, it's very topic, it's very specific, and almost all of it is a story of something, whereas Grand Finale, he was flexing in a different type of way, and even None But a Word has some of that too, but Grand Finale is just totally different because we didn't hear Cube rapping like that, really. Right,
but Cube was also rapping with D.O.C. So when you...
It was pen versus pen.
Right. So, you know, when you're doing a good thing, you know, me and you making music, I'm not going to go off to, the deep end. You know, I'm going to do something that you're going to do on your record. I'm going to play how you play. So Cube will play how they play. So when he get on your record, he'll play how you play.
Right.
But try to finesse your situation. And be like, okay, you did it, last thing. Okay, let me do it. Well, I Cube some nasty. And he was like, oh shit, he took my melody and all this shit. But he'll just floss you on your own court, where G-Rap just beat you, like he'll just beat you at rapping.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because another one of you did almost the whole album, of course, I think, only other than the 3 tracks that the Trackmasters did. But one of the ones that I love that doesn't get a lot of time is number 1 with a bullet, with Kane.
Right.
So Jinx. Big Daddy Kane, to my knowledge, they never had any beef, but they always had a competitive rivalry because they're both so brilliant as writers.
Right.
So how and what did you see that they pulled out of each other that was a little different than maybe what we saw in a symphony, for instance?
Well, when I met G-Rap, I was already familiar with Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
But like as a fan, like, you know what I'm saying? So then I was one of those people that, I see you again, and I see him in peculiar places. Like, you'd be like, oh, okay. So when we did the record, it was some weird stuff going on at the time with them, and I think Boogie Down Productions. They was having some type of situation with MC Shan and all that stuff was going on. That still was real like that. So with G-Rap, he was like getting away from that. Because Big Daddy Kane and KRS, if I'm not mistaken, they went to school together.
All right.
So the beef between Cold Chillin', or you know what I'm saying, and them, that was going on at the time when we was working on the record. So G-Rap just brought Big Daddy Kane. So he could have had, you know, guest appearances by everybody.
Of course.
But everybody was on that beef. And so they wanted to separate themselves from that beef between MC Shan and KRS.
Gotcha.
So coming to work with me, I started feeling like, you know, okay, they don't want to be a part of that. So that's why none of it is mentioned on this record, like the direction or even using the Bronx or anything in a derogatory, you know, way. We just forgot about it. He didn't want to be a part of it. So when Big Daddy Kane came, it was just like, you know, his sparring partner that he felt at home, like, you know, like
right.
He was far away from home, Kool G Rap, and to be inspired, you know, then here comes Big Daddy Kane, you know, that's the OG and his hood, you know, with the record company and all the stuff that they did together. So for him to get on the song and like the beat, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
it was great.
He had to like the beat. So at some point, and that was that, I think that Temptations.
Well, I was going to say that was later used famously in Crazy in Love.
Right.
But Jinx had it a little bit earlier.
Right, I was in the crates a little bit earlier. And it was funny, when I heard it the first time, I really and truly thought somebody was playing Kool G Rap record. And I think I was out of town or something, and I hear somebody, but I can't hear it really. But I'm like, somebody playing Kool G Rap. I'm like, nah, Beyonce used it. I was like, that's cool. That's dope.
Well, that's one of the many great things, and I think about this.
Well, she jacked me for my beat.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like, no, and I said jack, I made jacket for beats.
Yeah, I got
Beyonce jacked me for my beat.
I got you.
And made it famous.
Well,
made them horns famous.
Made the horns famous.
Right.
Because the way you used it and the way that they used it with Crazy in Love is very different.
Right.
Be sure to check out the history of gangster rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your TV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.